Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, January 10th, and I just want to say thank you to all the new subscribers and to everybody that are signing on. Thank you for sharing your time. And how do we know that we're doing the right thing? How do you know what you're doing is right in regards to health, wellness, and your journey? This video was a tough one that I've been thinking about for a few days now, and I'm going to share a little bit of my story, and that's what I think is important here, is the questions we ask. And it's okay to ask questions. And that, like always, this is Anthony Stewart, this is Food for Thought, and we've got a thinker today. We're questioning everything they've ever said. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor. I am a normal guy that has done a complete 180 with my health, as far as I can tell, over the last few years. And I just wanted to, explain the value of a story. And the story we tell ourselves is very important. And this is kind of where I was at, where I couldn't lift my arms above my shoulders. I couldn't run up the stairs. I knew I was overweight. I was getting to a point where I had to change. I knew it deep down inside. I started exercising, and then somebody told me about the keto diet. And what happened was I read a book. It was called Keto Diet for Dummies. And that book, although being very broad, really opened up my eyes to more questions about metabolic health. So I started a very dirty keto diet. I had no idea what I was getting into. Started listening to some people. Then, I read The Obesity Code by Jason Fung, understood fasting. And to tell you the truth, I was at the point where I wanted a doctor to prescribe me growth hormone to heal. Then my girlfriend told me about intermittent fasting, and that led me to the Obesity Code. That opened up my eyes to a whole different possibility. I started feeling better. I started, not feeling pain the same, and my inner desire to know why led me forward. So I started reading books. I read more books. I went to my first keto conference, virtual at the time, because COVID scared the shit out of me. And I'm sure it did for a lot of others. But what being on a low carb keto sort of opened up my brain and the thirst for knowledge. And if anything, the most important factor was my ability to want to know information. And I learned about viruses. I learned about the immune system. I read books. I listened to talks. And the problem out there is that there are 2 sides, 15 sides, everything you can prove or disprove. So the problem is, how do we get here from there? And sometimes it's a leap of faith. But this is what worked for me, and it led me to where I'm at now, which this channel, I want to thank all everybody, because when I started this channel, I was trying to I didn't know how to explain to the people I loved about how I was feeling and what was going on. And it was like, it ended up being a 4 or 5 hour conversation. And, when people get scientific information and they understand or they don't understand it, it goes over their head. So I tried to keep it like this channel was to maybe have some talks. And I started out like explaining what B vitamins were. Why? What's the point of that? There's a lot of smarter people than me explaining that stuff. So I went down, like the evolution of this was to explain and share my story. And there's value in that. And this video is for the people that are just starting and the people that have started and are feeling a little bit, unsure, and it's okay. All of what we do is okay. And if there's value, like, subscribe. If there's not, that's okay too. And this one is, now that my channel, humbly is reached over 1,000 subscribers, which I'm very blessed. I never thought that it would be like that. It was for people that I was helping so that I could just play them a video as opposed to a 4 hour conversation in their own time. Now, the more that I've shared my story, and the more people are asking me questions, and now it's more about how I'm thinking. And what has changed, the most important factor, is my ability to think. Now, it's easier said than done. Oh yeah, just think of this, think of that. We all have beliefs. And I urge you, this is my mission, is to challenge your beliefs and ask questions, which are okay, and question everything. Now, a couple examples, and I'm gonna get into the one of the most important things I ever took was 4 agreements. Now, if you've read the book, The 4 Agreements, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's by Don Miguel Ruiz, and you can just turn the video off now. But if you haven't, these 4 agreements changed my life. They changed the way I think. They changed the way I navigate through the health and nutrition space. And maybe this can help you, or possibly someone else. You might want to share this with somebody else, because I find that's a lot of the questions are like, you know, we're feeling so great. How do we share it with other people? And the funny thing is, people aren't going to listen unless they are ready. And that leads me to another book that I've started to read. I've listened to the audiobook. It's The Kabbalion. And the first thing in the book is, I didn't understand it at first, but it's the lips of wisdom are sealed, except to the ears of understanding. And it just, you brush that off and it's like, yeah, whatever. But when you're ready to receive information, that's when the world opens up. And you have to take that leap. And sometimes you can't make people. It's not about that. Now, saying that, all the books I've read, all this stuff, makes me think, you know, now that we understand, like, people in the space are questioning science, and here's something I pose. What if the Harvard professor got taught something and then teaches you? What's the difference where you've learned that knowledge? If you choose to receive it, if you choose to implement it, it's the same knowledge. So arguing doesn't work. It's about how you take it in. Now, I've learned to really dissect information and pay attention to the way people give you information. And it's like this. What I firmly believe, and it's my opinion, is when people that are very intelligent are down a certain path, but they have no choice but to follow their heart and are compelled to share it. Specifically, people that are out of a college, independent, journalists, engineers. When they come across, these are very smart people, and they are compelled to share their side. So the Nina Teicholz, the Gary Taubes, you might not agree with them, you might not like them, but it has nothing to do with the fact that they have found something and are on a mission. Ivor Cummins, an engineer. Dave Feldman, another engineer who's all about cholesterol. Now, what he says and how he presents it makes sense, because he's not pointing a finger saying, this is, you must, you have to. He's asking questions, and his questions are leading him down a path. Now, these 4 agreements, that if you relate them to your life, I promise you, you think about them for 5 minutes, your life will change. And, we're just going to get right into it. And this is for all the people that, that are sharing their stories, that are like, the carnivorous me, carnivore quest, no zero carb life. I appreciate you. And I love the fact that you're normal, regular people. I learn from the best education I possibly can. But what I'm really finding out is that I'm not alone, and people are healing and getting their life back. And that is the power. And you can do it too. For all the people that are just on the fence, for all the people, just take it all in. Take it all in and don't judge. And these 4 agreements will help you. I promise you. And we're going to get into sort of why and tie it into health. First agreement is be impeccable with your word. Now that sounds very simple, but what does impeccable mean? I'm going to put on my glasses. I got the definition. And that's another thing I'm trying to do, is not edit my videos when these talks are on. I want to come from the heart, and I hope this can help you. Impeccable. of behavior, performance, or appearance in accordance with the highest standards of propriety, faultless, a man of impeccable character. Now, in the theology, it's not liable to sin. And if you understand that words are power and what you do, this is for all the haters out there. Projecting your words to somebody who you have no idea might be affected by it is black magic. I do believe this because I've seen it happen. We've all seen it happen. Once you plant a seed with your words into somebody who is not confident or fragile, you have no idea what that could cascade. Now, I'm protecting myself, and I know with this territory is going to come all the hate. They don't agree with me, and that's okay. But my words are power. And what I want to do with my words is try to be as genuine and honest as possible and use them to promote you. That's it. I am not trying to change anybody with what I know. I just feel that these haters, and if you don't believe in somebody else, your words could hurt them, and shame on you for projecting them. And that leads to the second agreement. Take nothing personally. This has helped me navigate myself through the health and nutrition space, because you can take stories, you can take science, you can take lectures, but it's not personal. We have no idea what these people are doing, and we have no idea what their intentions are. So if you don't take it personal, you can step out of your own self and navigate accordingly. It's very effective, and I promise you, if you start thinking about these things, and I actually took a picture of my freezer, and I'll post it, I'll just put it right there, because I wrote them down. These words was like after all the 30, 40 books that I've read over the last couple of years, these things, I'm not perfect. I try and implement them as much as possible, and it works. And this is what separates me from myself. And it gets me back. And I am not perfect. I've had adversity. I've had issues. I used to be an emotional wreck. Maybe the carnivore diet, let alone low carb, has opened up my brain and allowed me to not fly by emotions. But this is fact. So take nothing personally, but use anecdotes, use stories to find your own way, right? That's what we're trying to do. Number 3, don't make assumptions. And it's very simple to relate this to health and nutrition. And it's funny that if you put these agreements to every video Bart K ever did, you'll find that these agreements are pretty much the way he is. And it's funny because if you are not willing to actually receive what he's trying to do, you will take offense. You will be either for or against. It's not about that. He is necessary in this space because he doesn't assume. It's pretty simple. And if you don't assume anything, you start to learn. You start to ask questions. Don't make assumptions. If you really want to know, ask the questions, find the truth. You may not find it, but I'll tell you what, when you stop assuming that everybody is what they are or affecting you, and you're not taking things personally, and your words are power and magic, everything that we've been born with, the words matter. When we were a kid, nothing matters until we learned it did, right? So that leads me to a quote, which I'm going to try and keep this short, but this is powerful stuff. If you no longer believe in all that you know that makes you suffer, then your suffering disappears. Power. So everybody keep doing what you're doing, but don't make assumptions. Don't assume that I'm right. Challenge me. I open opinion. I open discourse. I like it. I like debating it. I'm interested in health. I'm interested in science. I don't know much, but I'm learning, and I'm willing to look at both sides. I was going to go vegan, but then I started learning about what nutrition and some of the biology behind it, and I made a decision to go the other way. Even after I told a friend of mine who suggested eating beef and eggs, I told him I'm 40 plus years old. There's no way I'm not eating vegetables because I'll die. Wow, was I wrong. And that's okay. So now the 4th agreement, always do your best. And this is something that only you can answer. If you always do your best, only you will know, because there's a lot of noise. And, you know, if you can honestly tell yourself that you've done your best, that's something that's powered to you. So I'm going to keep this short. I want you, if you think this can help somebody, share the video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I would love to hear your comments on these things, but I'm telling you, the book, 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, changed my life because I'm implementing them in everything I do. And you know what? When I find myself getting emotionally triggered, I go back to them. And wow, does it make a difference. I hope this helps you. I open and I challenge you to debate me. It's okay. I'm up for it. And thanks for all the tips out there. I'm trying this YouTube thing. I'm brand new, so I'm trying to get my production in line. Stay strong.